Hello everyone watching this video. Today in this video we are going to be talking about Aruba Instant Access Point, commonly known as IAP, and how to configure Captive Portal using these access points. Captive Portal authentication is one where a guest connects to a network and then he gets a splash page and then he has to enter his username or password or his email ID to authenticate himself and then get access to the network. There will be a backend server who will be authenticating the client. Next, you'll be watching screenshots which will be explaining step-by-step configuration of how to configure guest SSID using Captive Portal authentication. You can get to this home page by writing the IP in the web browser and hit enter. Here you have to enter the username and password. The default username is admin and the password is also admin, so I'm going to use that only. Once you log in, you'll see that you can create a new SSID by hitting on new. So I'm going to create a new SSID, guest SSID using Captive Portal authentication. As soon as you hit new, a new window will pop up and then you have to give the name of the SSID. I'm going to use guest access. Then moving on, you have three different options: employee, voice, and guest. In order to have more information about these options, you can always hit help and then click on the option. So here you'll get details about what employee, voice, and guest stands for. I'm going to use guest option because that is what Captive Portal authentication meant for. Hit next. You will see two options again: virtual controller assigned and network assigned. This is the way the client is going to get its IP address. If you hit virtual controller assigned, the virtual controller will be acting as the DHCP server. If you are using an external DHCP server, you have to hit network assigned. So for the ease of simplicity, I will use virtual controller assigned. Here you will see splash page type. I'm using internal authenticated and I'm going to use the internal server, but you have more options as you can see from here, and you can pick anything depending upon your requirement. I'm going to use internal server, meaning the virtual controller will be acting as the server and authenticating the client. For the internal server, you have to create a user so that you can use the same username and password while you're authenticating the client. I already have one user created here, but in order to add another user, you have to click here and add the other user. And we have to be very careful that the type should be guest because we are using guest authentication. If you will be selecting employee, this will not work. So we have to hit guest and then hit add. The new user will be created here as guest user. So once that is done, you can always click OK and move on. Here is another thing. You can always configure your welcome text based on how you like your welcome page to be. Here I'm going to use hello world. And you can always preview your welcome page by hitting on preview option here. So this is how the welcome page will look like. There is another option called redirect URL. You can use any URL to go to welcome page. And it's important to use HTTP or HTTPS. I'm going to use arubanetworks.com to redirect my client to. Hit next. Here are three options as you can see from the screen: unrestricted, network-based, and role-based. So if you want to have a user pass any type of traffic and not to restrict it and not put any ACL on it, you can always use unrestricted. However, if you want user to be restricted and not allow traffic to go to some specific internal resources or any network, you can always use network-based authentication. In this, I'm going to restrict the user to pass any traffic to one particular network, 10.20.30.0. It will be a class C based network. So once you come here, you have to click here and then add the new role. According to this role, I'm going to deny any service. But if you click here, you can see other services as well, and you can select based on the network requirement. I'm going to use any, and then if you hit on this drop down menu, you'll see that one option is to all destination, other option is to a particular server, other option is except to that server, and then to a network. So I'm going to use to a network, and I'm going to add the internal network that I'm going to block the user to pass any traffic to. It'll be a Class C network, so you have to provide the subnet mask. Once you click OK, you will see the policy right there. You can always move this policy up and down using the arrow specified here. So the policy is there. Click Finish, and the rule is in place. So this is how you configure a Captive Portal SSID using guest authentication. Now that we have created the guest SSID, I'm going to connect my client to that and we'll test it. So here, as you can see, I'm already connected to guest access. I'm going to launch a web browser and then it will redirect the HTTP page to my IAP, and then I'll see the splash page. So as you can see here, I'll see the splash page. I have to enter the username and password in order to authenticate this client. Also, I have to hit agree here. It will redirect me to the same arubanetworks.com as we have configured in past. Okay, so as you can see here, we are redirected to www.arubanetworks.com. So this is how you configure guest SSID with Captive Portal authentication. Thanks for watching the video.